So get this. For the very first time, we have an AI that doesn't just see the individual parts of life, but the entire interacting machine. It's a breakthrough that could literally change everything. So let's break down exactly how it works.
You see this? This incredible, beautiful chaos? That's what's happening inside every single one of your cells right this very second. And for decades, biologists have been chasing this one massive question. Could we ever create a single map to make sense of all of this?
It's like we had a list of all the parts for an incredibly complex machine. You know, the proteins, the DNA. We were getting really good at seeing those individual pieces, but we were missing the assembly manual. We had no idea how they all connected, how they all danced together to create, well, to create us.
Well, that's all changing. The answer, it turns out, is a new tool that's basically a universal atlas for all of biology.
And here it is, AlphaFold 3. Now, this is a fundamental leap forward. Why? Because it doesn't just predict the shape of one little protein. No, it predicts how that protein interacts with pretty much everything else in the cell, all at once, in a single unified model. It's a total game changer.
So what does this new superpowered vision actually let us see? Come on, let's open up the toolbox and find out. Okay, so you remember AlphaFold 2, right? It was revolutionary for sure. It showed us the structure of individual proteins, kind of like the building blocks of life. But AlphaFold 3? It shows us the entire construction site. It sees how the blocks, the wiring, the fuel, all of it connects and interacts to actually build something that's alive. And here's what's in that new toolbox. It's not just proteins anymore. Now it can model our genetic code, DNA and RNA. It can see how these tiny molecules called ligands, think of things like drugs, fit into the machinery. And it can even handle ions and chemical modifications, which are basically the on-off switches for all sorts of biological processes. It's the whole shebang. And this right here, this is where you can see the power. On the left, it's accurately predicting how a protein binds to DNA. I mean, that's one of the most fundamental processes of life. Then on the right, you see it modeling how an antibody latches onto an invader. And in both of these pictures, the colored part is AlphaFold 3's prediction, and the gray is the real deal, the experimentally proven structure. Look how close they are. The accuracy is just, it's mind-blowing. Okay, so the big question is, how on earth does it do this? The secret sauce is a totally different approach from the last version. It's a technique they borrowed from the world of generative AI, the stuff that makes images and text. It uses what's called a diffusion model. Now, instead of trying to build the structure piece by piece, which is the old way, it does something totally different. It starts with a completely random cloud of atoms, just total chaos. Then, step by step, it just removes the noise from that cloud, slowly refining the positions of the atoms until, boom, a precise final structure just emerges. The best way to think about it is like a sculptor. A sculptor starts with a big, messy block of marble and just chips away everything that isn't the statue. AlphaFold 3 does the same thing, but with atoms. It starts with a random cloud and just progressively removes the noise, basically sculpting it, until the final ordered structure is revealed. It's a purely generative process, literally creating order right out of chaos. And this new method, it's not just some neat party trick. The results are absolutely stunning. Come on, let's look at the numbers. All right, first up, drug discovery. Predicting how a potential drug molecule is going to bind to a protein, that is a notoriously hard problem. The old tools like AutoDocVina, they get it right less than half the time. That's a coin slip. AlphaFold 3, it's hitting nearly 70% accuracy. I mean, that is a massive leap forward for designing new medicines. Next up, the actual blueprints of life. How do proteins interact with our DNA and RNA? The previous best model out there, Rosetta Fold 2NA, had an accuracy score of around 40. AlphaFold 3, it nearly doubles that, hitting around 75. This is so critical for understanding how our genes actually get read and regulated. And finally, let's look at its original home turf, predicting how proteins interact with other proteins. Even here, where its predecessor was already a champion, AlphaFold 3 blows it away, jumping from about 52% to 63% success. So yeah, it's not just broader, it's actually gotten way better at its original job too. Okay, but with any groundbreaking tech like this, we've got to be honest about what it can't do yet. It's not magic, so let's take a look at the fine print. Look, AlphaFold 3 is a monumental step forward, no doubt, but it's not the final word. It's better to think of it as version 3.0, not, version infinity. Even the researchers behind it are super clear about where the model still needs to improve. So, a really key example is something called chirality. It's basically the handedness of a molecule. Just like your left and right hands are mirror images, a lot of molecules are too. And this is so critical in drug design. Why? Because one-handed version can be a lifesaver, while its mirror image could be useless or even harmful. And this is one area where AlphaFold 3 can still get it wrong sometimes, which is a really important detail for scientists to remember. And there are a few other challenges. Sometimes it can hallucinate. Basically, it just invents a structure in regions that are supposed to be naturally floppy and disordered. It also only gives us a static snapshot, like a single photo, but in reality, these molecules are constantly moving, wiggling, and changing shape. And sometimes it'll get stuck on predicting just one shape, even when a molecule might have a few different ones it can take. But hey, even with those limitations, the implications here are just profound. This isn't just a small improvement. This really feels like the beginning of a whole new way of doing science. And the team that built this? Their vision goes way beyond just making a prediction tool. They see this as a foundational piece for understanding life from the atoms all the way up. It's a way to finally start to unravel the true, mind-boggling complexity of the cell, one interaction at a time. And this is why it matters to every single one of us. By giving scientists this unbelievably accurate and comprehensive map, AlphaFold 3 is poised to dramatically speed up how we develop new drugs. It's going to deepen our understanding of what goes wrong in diseases, and it could even help us engineer totally new biological solutions to some of our planet's biggest problems. So what we have here is basically a universal atlas of biology, and it's being placed in the hands of scientists everywhere. The question it leaves us with is, well, it's both simple and absolutely staggering. Now that we have this new superpower to see and understand the machinery of life, what problems do we solve first?